Living in the Valley of the Sun, following Arizona sports teams, we're no stranger to bad contracts, but it feels like GM Monty Ossenfort has been pretty savvy and hasn't given out too many. We're kind of looking and taking stock of maybe some bad contracts on the Arizona Cardinals team.
Do the Cardinals have their own Bradley Beal? They do not, but we will tell you who the worst current contract belongs to. Plus, Garrett Williams talks maybe a no-fly zone 2.0. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack in Studio K. Noah Man behind the mic today, talking back contracts, Bo.
We are. It's part of the show. We got our position preview that continues, and man, I must say, you're really bringing it this week as far as the opens to the show. A lot of gusto. And I'll just throw that word around a lot. I'm not just some guy, right? I'm your co-host.
You say it all the time. You're so friendly, so generous, so humble. Nope, wait, that's me. Everybody like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Yes, I've had a chance to recover from my overnight flight, my 10-year-old, my 5-year-old, and we're back just in time for training camp. Welcome, friends. Welcome, everybody. I saw our guy Ken Weber hasn't been back in a hot minute. Ken, where the hell did you go? Welcome back, brother.
Ken, fantastic to see you, man. Ken sent the show, I'm going to butcher this, a Boba Fett helmet.
He did. It was for me.
Did I get it?
He was for me, and then fired producer, somehow still employed, Damon Dog, hoarded it and stole it. It's in his office now, but Ken, the gesture's not lost on your boy. We appreciate it for the
Damon Dog way down the rankings as far as PHNX employees. Somehow has a job out there in Dallas, thriving though.
Can I just say, are you jealous I have tickets to Superman tonight? How do you feel about that?
I was going to text you. I was wondering when it was. I need your feedback. I've been patrolling the social media streets. Might take my young son as well. So no, I'm not jealous. I actually do not want to be in a movie theater right now.
Yes, you do. You want to be with me side by side, hand in hand, watching the Superman movie. But before we do that, we got to talk about something not super bad. Cardinals at contract. So we're in the offseason, the thick of the dead period. And so we digest a lot of Phoenix Suns content because, of course, we have #1 Phoenix Suns podcast in existence. Tremendous job by everybody on our Suns show. And I've just been inundated with what's going on with Bradley Beal. And first of all, the Suns have already are playing with house money. They got rid of Kevin Durant. Goodbye, Kevin. You know how we feel on this show. Goodbye. So it's what do we do with Bradley Beal? And by all accounts, it feels like they have to buy him out, right? Mm-hmm. It's not in terms of the person, but it's like a Deshaun Watson bad contract where they are just going to have to eat it
for 5 years.
For 5 years, right? And so I think of that, and it's let's talk about bad contracts. And this conversation, I'm going to admit, would have been much more interesting and lively about 3.5 years ago. But we are eating good. We have taken our vegetables. We're flipping shredded here in the Arizona salary cap situation. Unlike the trans fats that came with an ex-GM in terms of a bloated salary cap. So, Bo, I know that people may think we're stretching here, but the Cardinals, they have some salary, contract stipulations that they may want to revise.
I mean, there was, absolutely. And the bulk of them, I think, were signed back in the 2024 offseason. But, for the most part, relative to the previous regime where it was just like a dime a dozen, you were racking up bad contract after bad contract. And then you were saddled with dead money from that seemingly each and every year. You were just absorbing bad deals and dead money here and there. Yeah, there you go, Shaft. Eat it. There you go. Absolutely, my guy. As far as the bad contracts, no, you don't want to eat. You don't want to consume that. You want to consume, good fats, good carbs, good proteins, right? You want all that. And I think Monty Ossenfort, he understands that in order to keep this a well-oiled machine in a cap league, you have to be able to really manage the checks and balances. And so far, so good. But it's easy, right, when you're a drafter, develop, and for the most part, you're just navigating outside of the Kyler Murray quarterback contract, guys on their rookie deals. You just signed Trey McBride to, the highest tight end contract in league history at one point, but that was a position that was kind of pushed down below most of the other positions. So when it came time, to kind of pay the piper for that position, the Cardinals didn't have to write that fat of a check relative to some of the other positions.
It's a contract that's going to age well, by the way. It's already aged well. The Cardinals were in such good cap standings this offseason that you and I would come on the show daily in March and just say, you want to splurge? Splurge. Have a couple, irresponsible contracts, Monty Ossenfort. Do it. I dare you. Do it. You've got $80 million. Let's go. Right? Let's be irresponsible. Give me some walking around money, Monty Ossenfort. And while
treat yourself, right?
That's right.
That's what you wanted to do.
Josh Sweat, treat yourself. Dalvin Tomlinson, treat yourself. That's what it was like. But, in the grand scheme of things, those are modest deals. Mike Garafolo's come on our show many times, and he echoed the point, you can get out of those contracts in a minute. And that's the beauty of the NFL, right? So there is really no comparison to the Bradley Beal situation. However, when it comes to Monty Ossenfort, I think he has probably done as good of a job this offseason remedying what? Last offseason. And where did the problems start last offseason? They started in free agency. I thought the draft last year was good. I thought 2023 was fantastic. Understood the assignment. Shed a lot of Kimes bad contracts, right? Isaiah Simmons, get out of town. Zaven Collins, mini extension, no fifth-year option, right? Having to cut DeAndre Hopkins because of his bloated salary. There was a ton of that going on. So last offseason in 2024 was the first time, Bo, that we were saying, okay, let's get some free agents. Let's get some juice. Let's get some grease on these wheels. And he did. And he signed 3 players in particular that we have argued have not aged well, one of which, I think we can unveil it now, let's see it, Noah, is the worst contract currently on the Arizona Cardinals, and Bo, it belongs to one Justin Jones.
Yeah, what an unbelievably cool graphic, but obviously something that you don't want to have to be labeled with. And that's Justin Jones. Yeah, 3-year, $31.1 million deal with the Cardinals last offseason, including close to $10 million signing bonus and close to $20 million guaranteed, where you saw, a relatively affordable, team-friendly first-year deal. You see that kind of go up a little bit this year. And along with him and his running mate there, Bilal Nichols, who joined him via free agency last year, 2 guys that are going to have to vie for a spot on this roster, and 2 guys that if either one of them or both are cut, you have to absorb some dead money as far as the 2025 season goes. Now, because they're in such great financial standing with the cap, they can endure that easily, very easily. But if you're trying to sift through it and you're trying to nitpick a little bit, this by far, I think, is the worst deal that you can find.
And it's not that bad, right?
Right.
They could cut him in training camp this year. I don't think they will, but they could, and eat $14 million and be fine. They could move on and say, hey, that's fine. We'll get some cap savings next offseason. Sean Murphy-Bunting, sounds like what we've heard, they're going to probably end up saving some money, unfortunately for Sean, because he got injured away from the facility. So that contract on the surface wasn't great, although he did play in a lot of games last year. But I think the Cardinals are really kind of made whole by that deal. So we'll put that off to the side. And then Bilal Nichols basically signed what equated to a 2-year deal compared to Justin Jones. So by default, it is Justin Jones. Let's take a look at his production or lack thereof last year, Noah, man, if we could. 3 games played, 4 total tackles. And it wasn't just the games played. I mean, I remember watching him. I think did he play against the Packers maybe? I remember watching him, and he just looked slow. And maybe probably because he was injured, but it was brutal to watch. There was no impact, no tackles for loss. And he was somebody that, like, he was their best on paper defensive tackle last year, sans Darius Robinson. Like, this was the guy that was supposed to get them back to respectability. 3 games, 4 tackles ain't going to cut it. And then you see there the dead money. So he's an $11.35 million cap hit. So you save no money. You actually take on more money if you cut him right now, which is why we feel like there's a chance that he sticks around. Whereas then you see that next year, $12.5 million cap hit. We expect him probably maybe to be released. And then you save upwards of 3.5 if you were to be cut in 2026. Bilal Nichols right now, who is not healthy, Bo, looks like the odd man out, or one of them. And we'll continue to talk about this as we preview the defensive line later in the week.
Mm-hmm. No, you look, you've got 4 or 5 guys that are going to be vying for the probably last 2 spots of the defensive line rotation. And guys like Nichols and Jones are going to be heavily debated and discussed as far as that goes. And it's unfortunate because, like, this podcast, you're not going to find any record of us, spiking the football and saying, hey, you've got like game-wrecking defensive linemen coming in. Monty Ossenfort, man, he's done it again, that rascal. But we understood that there was an overpay to try to flood a position of massive need, because the context here is the 2023 defensive line room was one of the worst position groups in probably half a decade in the NFL. Like, they didn't trot out anybody outside of Dante Stills, who they took in the 6th round, that resembled an NFL caliber defensive lineman. We thought that the Cardinals were bringing in guys that were NFL caliber defensive linemen, and Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, and they just had to pay a bit of a free agent premium for it. And we weren't expecting them to come in and be Aaron Donald or Chris Jones or, the lesser tier of that, Leonard Williams or even anything like that. We thought they could just come in and play well, and they far checked in below those expectations. Like, they were just plain bad. And now it's like, can they have a good enough camp? Can they make the roster? That's the first step here. And then can they be, a productive piece of this rotation that has high expectations in 2025? Because if they do, then you'll look back at it and say, okay, I'll take that. Like, if Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols is a viable rotation piece, it was all part of a bigger plan. But if they don't make the roster and you're absorbing the money, then it's just, you look back at that and you said, ooh, there you go. Just throw that as far as the cons and the pros and cons list as far as Monty Ossenfort and free agency.
Here's what's attributing to Justin Jones remaining on the roster and being given a real chance beyond his contract. I think first of all, he's a better player than Bilal Nichols, right? Mm-hmm. LJ Collier just did this a year ago. Now, granted, he faced much less competition. Remember, LJ Collier got hurt in 2023. They liked him a lot. He missed most of the season. They brought him back, and he played well last year. So much so he got a 1-year flyer. I forgot about him. Everybody forgot about him. He's around still. Justin Jones's injury was to his tricep. It was not a lower body injury. And that, to me, is a huge deal. And we saw last year, Darius Robinson labored through that lower body injury last year. I mean, though, for bigger guys especially, like, it is demoralizing. It can really hamper your play. Whereas, like, I would imagine, like, Justin Jones has been healthy for a good long while now. And so he was out there during OTAs. He's going to be ready to go for training camp. I would love to be cautiously optimistic and surprised if he shows up and he has a good training camp. Like, that's what the Cardinals deserve from Justin Jones. Like, hey, man, clearly you are not worth this money. You got a very nice payday because you played well in Chicago, but also the Cardinals were desperate. And they did not navigate free agency well last year. Can you just play up to about 60 to 70% of this deal? Because right now, this is what we think of you. We took a defensive tackle 16th overall, and we signed 2 more in free agency, all that are projected to be better than you right now. How does that make you feel? Like, put the money aside and just have some fire in your gut, as your head coach would say, and get out there and compete. Go compete against these guys. I want to see that. I want to be watching training camp and dare I say the preseason and see Justin Jones making flash plays and say, okay, maybe this contract's not looking so bad in hindsight. I'm fearful, though, that's not what we're going to get. I do look back on his time in Chicago. He had some sacks. How much of that was, say what you want about the prior coaching staff in the Chicago. They could coach defense. They had Montez Sweat. They had some good defensive linemen. Did he clean up a lot in there and fraud his way up to, what do you have, 5 or 6 sacks? His run defense has always been below average. So I am hoping to be wrong, but if I'm not, thank God for the foursome of Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Bilal Nichols, Walter Nolan, and Darius Robinson. Thank goodness for those four, plus like maybe a little Dante Stills, LJ Collier.
You know, these guys and their friends, and I think they've been buddies for a long time, and they happened to sign with the Cardinals organization on the same day during the tampering period or agree to terms, and came over and saw a familiar face in each other. But now they're pitted up against each other for, you know, possibly one spot.
Yeah.
And I think the one edge that they have versus the rest of the group is just their sheer size, their versatility. They're very similar players, and it's like, what's going to be the kind of the determining factor? You look at them statistically. You look at what, you know, their, I guess, you know, what people looked at as far as their strengths was their durability up until last year, where both of them were lost to injury way too early. Like Nichols, I think, had played every game of the last 4 seasons, and Jones had played every game of the previous 2. It's like, can you be reliable? Can you be the durable guy? But also, like, I'm going to be asking you for a little bit more, but also, you know, were you guys playing at a disadvantage where were they the only 2 guys that could actually play on the defensive line, and they were just overwhelmed by the opposing offenses because they could key in on them because there wasn't any other viable options on the defensive line? Because now they don't have anywhere to run, and it's just going to take, you know, both of these guys, because if it's not Jones's contract, you look at Nichols' contract, you look at Sean Murphy-Bunting's contract, because I don't know if there's any other one that you can make the case for where you're like, dang, those are somewhat weighing this salary cap team for the team down.
No chance. That's a testament to Austin Ford. Oh, I would say almost to a fault, but he did a tremendous job this offseason. No notes, Mr. Austin Ford. And here's my last point on Justin Jones. He's 28. Yeah. Big thumbs up, right? Not the thumbs down Yankees game. He's 28 right now. He turns 29 in August. He's almost 30 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Elijah Simmons has not played a lick of NFL football. He's 23 years old. I mean, it's like, you're going to have to weigh if you're Austin Ford. Like, if you're Austin Ford, okay, with Gannon, sit in a room, talk about the defensive line. We know Justin Jones maybe can help us this year. Is he a part of our future? Probably not, right? Can Elijah Simmons make up ground over the course of 2 to 3 months in the practice squad that he could be part of our future long-term? Do we want to get rid of a guy like Dante Stills, who has been consistent for 2 years because of a bloated contract? I'm going to tell you right now, Jonathan Gannon will have no problem going in and saying, cut his ass. He's not worth his salt on any player. If he's getting outperformed by an undrafted free agent or a 6th-round rookie or somebody making little to no money like LJ Collier, they will move off of him. Yeah, that was not always the case with the prior regime. So I'm thankful for that. I mean, guys, if you're questioning that, because I get a lot of people saying they're not cutting anybody. Blah, blah, blah. They literally cut their starting quarterback 2 weeks before training, or 2 weeks before the regular season. This podcast said they would, because he couldn't produce, because he couldn't throw the football. And we sat there at training camp, and Bo and I were saying, you have to get rid of Colt McCoy. He cannot play.
More so you.
And they traded for Dobbs. And there were people in this market, check the receipts. There were people in this market that said Colt McCoy will still start over Joshua Dobbs. And I almost had to quit this podcast. I'm like, this market can't be that stupid to suggest that. And Colt McCoy was gone, and Dobbs started like 2 days later in practice. This is the same thing. If they got a young guy that can play and do the dirty work, they will get rid of Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. They're not beholden to the cap.
They're looking for, you know, obviously the best 53 possible, and then obviously the guys who are going to have a role on game day. And if they don't envision a guy as having, you know, a role, you know, obviously, can they get in there? Can they start? Could they be viable backups? If they don't have anything going for them, they're going to get rid of them. They don't care what the contract looks like. It's just not the way that Austin Fort and Gannon are built. And they're not going to just say, well, we this is what we envisioned back in March of 2024. Like that, there's so many cases to prove otherwise that Monty Austin Fort's willing to pivot. And I think that's a sign of a really good general manager, that you're willing to kind of admit your mistakes and move forward and find a solution. Because, man, certainly they just threw everything they could at this position group this offseason. They weren't going to be they weren't going to be fooled again. Like it was free agent dollars. It was getting out there. Dalvin Tomlinson picked up Calais Campbell, 16th overall pick, undrafted rookie free agents. Like Monty Ossenfort scoured the football earth for defensive linemen.
Remember when they signed Dalvin Tomlinson and we're like, maybe they're done. Maybe that's it. And then they added 2 more starters at defensive tackle. And people are like, oh, they really hate the last year's free agent crop. They couldn't want them gone more. It's like, no, it's that meme. It's from Family Guy. No, not you. Bye-bye. That's what they feel like about Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones. Calais Campbell fell into their lap, partially because he wanted to play here. And the Cardinals tried to trade for him at the deadline last year. And then Walter Nolan, because the Bears are morons and took a 3rd tight end, fell into their lap. And it's just like, see, guys, problem solved.
Well, I'm sitting there naively talking to Jonathan Gannon in Indianapolis, and I'm saying, well, I'm looking at the numbers crunch. You got Nichols, and you've got Stills, and you've got Justin Jones, you got Darius Robinson. Like, is the numbers crunch going to prevent you guys from, signing or drafting, defensive linemen? And he's like, no, not at all. It's never going to prevent us from that. It never, ever.
These players aren't any good. We made a mistake. We're trying to win. I'd like to stay here and pay my mortgage. I want a contract extension. It's a novel concept. It's like the most competent people in your professional setting, your personal setting, can admit their mistakes, pivot, and move on. Thank God the Cardinals have started to understand that because they got smart people leading this franchise. Not let's play Isaiah Simmons at 6 different positions every offseason. Pub them up in the media guide. Good Lord. We appreciate all of you. Drop a like on this video. Fired up to be talking football. What's that?
Fantastic. The chat's on fire today. Love seeing it. Ken Weber bringing some juice today. Baharo 3, I see you as well. Great throwback to a great movie in Dodgeball. Saying not adding offense and keeping Petzing. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off for him. Yeah, look, pressure's on, man. Pressure is on that offense.
What does that tell you? It tells you they do not believe it's a personnel problem. They are telling you the players are good enough. When they don't feel like the players are good enough, what do? Flesh it, baby. Flesh that potty. So I tell my 5-year-old, flush the potty. Flush the toilet. Get new players in here. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying on offense. They're like, make it work.
It's a bad analogy.
Oh, it's a great one.
No potty talk. No potty talk.
It's the best one. We got almost 200 people watching live on a sleepy little football Tuesday in the off season. Everybody drop a like on the show. Despite that analogy, we're fired up. Bo got to talk to the Cardinals, maybe best football player, pound for pound right now on the roster. It was Garrett Williams, Bo. We got clips. We got context right around the corner. It's PHNX Cardinals. Man, I am fired up. I'll tell you what else I'm fired up about. So Thursday night, staycation for Bo and I and our fams. We're going to be at Gila River Resorts and Casinos hanging out. We've been planning this all off season. Bo and I said much earlier this year, we said, we need a staycation. We need to rest up. We need to have some fun, great vibes with the fam before the start of the regular season, before we go into complete lockdown mode and we shun our families for 6 months. And we're going to Gila this Thursday and Friday. You can do. It's the perfect place. In town, out of town, experience the thrill of the largest sportsbook casino. We're going to be there every Sunday for our away game watch parties at BetMGM Sportsbook, Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. Again, they got pool scene. They got a tremendous rooftop bar and grill. It's the place to be. It's the largest, I believe, sportsbook casino in Arizona, comparable to anything you'll see on the Las Vegas Strip. It's exactly where Bo and I want to spend our time with our fams in the offseason. Again, don't take our word for it. Check them out right now. Visit playathila.com, Bo, for more details.
Yeah, staycation central right there. Any of the Gila River Resorts and Casino locations, Wild Horse Pass, we're coming for you. Make some money out there. Save some money with our friends over at APS. Smart thermostats. They're going to hook you up as low as $0. Is that a lot of money? Seems like it's a good deal. not paying any money for that? Yeah, the smart thermostats over at APS, it's going to work with APS, their rate plan, to help you automatically adjust the temperature in your home. It's unbelievable. You could do it just via your smartphone. And then also you lock in with what they're doing over at APS. They get instant rebates, discounts, special offers on smart thermostats, energy efficient appliances at more at marketplace.aps.com. For every 1 degree you raise your thermostat, you could save up to 2 to 3% on your cooling costs. But you remember to adjust your thermostat can be kind of tricky, can kind of bite yourself there if just kind of trying to run it on your own. Do it with a smart thermostat from our friends over at APS. Right now, APS customers are eligible for smart thermostats as low as $0. You enroll the APS Cool Rewards program. You already got a smart thermostat at home. See eligible, enroll Cool Rewards, free install and available at marketplace.aps.com. Must be an APS customer, pay shipping and taxes. That's it. Other restrictions apply. Go to marketplace.aps.com for all the details.
Big thanks to everybody watching, 200 people watching live. Can't wait to see you all and more this fall for our regularly broadcasted shows Monday through Friday, 4:30. And of course, the coup de grace, the chef's kiss, content on Sundays, pre-halftime and post-game shows. If you're not a diehard already, you want to get into the diehard mix and be geared up and ready to go for this fall. And of course, subscribe here on YouTube. Get us to 50,000 subscribers. That's the goal. The goal right now, we're about 8K away, is to get us to 50K before kickoff week 1. We're going to be in New Orleans, by the way, for that player that will also be in New Orleans on full display. It's Garrett Williams, and he is part, Bo, of our continued position preview as we break down the Arizona Cardinals piece by piece, player by player. And today we're looking at the defensive back group, which I would argue, specifically corner, has taken the most kind of facelift over the course of the 3 years under Austin Ford and Gannon.
They continue to invest heavily in the drafts at this position. I mean, it started off with Garrett Williams. They took him in the 3rd round. They didn't stop there. I mean, this was a team that was just flush with top 100 picks, and they take Max Melton in the 2nd round, Elijah Jones in the 3rd round. They don't stop there. They take Will Johnson in the 2nd round, and then they take Denzel Burke in the 5th round. They had Jaden Davis the previous draft to that. Like, they just can't help themselves. They just are accumulating all the defensive backs because they know that their coaching staff knows how to mold them, develop them. And is this the year that they take a monumental jump? I mean, they're going to get aided potentially by a revamped front 7, but these were guys that were ball hawks in college. I think I saw between Max Melton and Will Johnson, they had 17 picks combined in the Big Ten. You know, are they going to be able to translate that to the next level? And I'd say the time is now. You get the steady play from Garrett Williams in the slot, and then you look to the outside as we preview things. You know, there's going to be a position battle for those 2 spots to start, and I think they've got some really viable options.
To me, this group has maybe the biggest upside of any group not named the defensive tackle group because of the athletes, because of who's coaching them. And again, like, I watched this team trot out, with all due respect, like Keitrell Clark and Antonio Hamilton and Starling Thomas, and like, those players didn't embarrass themselves in 2023. And we know they didn't have a pass rush to work off of. Now it's like you have inserted in 3 off seasons, 3 high-level defensive back prospects. With all due, like, we had Denzel Burke on the show. I think he's going to contribute, right? Elijah Jones, wild card. But you talk about the trio of Garrett Williams, who we're going to hear from here in a little bit, Max Melton, who very much looked the part last year, was asked to be on an island, especially when Sean Murphy-Bunting was out. And then now Will Johnson, who we all assume is going to be a tremendous player, assuming he can stay healthy. Should have been a 1st rounder, like a top 20 pick, and you get him in the 40s. I mean, that's as good as it gets. And it's a position group. Like, I am not like Mr. Rah-Rah, get a corner early. I like line of scrimmage first and then develop. But we would be hard pressed. Like, you think about Garrett Williams was a flyer pick at the beginning of the 3rd round, stash and play when ready. Max Melton was a part of a run on corners in the 2nd round of last year, where it felt like that was the time to get it, right? Not risk a corner pick ahead of Marv, of course, and Darius Robinson. So I like the sweet spot there. And then who can argue the value this year? I mean, like, there was no corner worthy of the 16th overall pick, and then you get what could be the best corner in the draft in the 2nd round. I would argue the value on all three of these picks is fantastic. I would give A for Garrett and Will Johnson, and I would give B to B plus for Max Melton's value.
Yeah, you put him in this system, and what it could be, man. I mean, it really could be something. I missed who the person who put it in the chat, Noah. He featured it here, just saying it's a young man's position.
Yeah,
Wonder, yeah. EBEG. I mean, it absolutely is. I would much rather have this group, which is relatively unknown, especially nationally, than what the Steelers are going to march out come September, where you got Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey, and you got their AARP cards both together at the same time. They went to the office together to make sure that they could lock it in. It is the shelf life of being a productive corner in this league is so small.
Yeah,
it really is. Even when you think about the greats, like that's what separated like Revis from everybody else, because he did it, at a high clip for a long time. But you think about it, even like Patrick Peterson, like the shelf life relative to other positions, it's not long, and because you lose a half a step and you're toast each and every Sunday. So they've got some young, athletic, lengthy corners that I think project to be kind of menaces to opposing offenses at the next level. Let's take a look at the corner group right now, Noah. We got the guys, and this is who we're projecting as our starters, Johnny. Yeah. Will Johnson getting the nod.
Hello.
Is 47th overall.
Yeah.
I was looking, just kind of doing some research. PFF had him as their 14th best prospect.
Is that good?
It seems pretty good value when you're getting them at 47. Walter Nolan was 7th. Will Johnson was 7 spots lower at 14th. You get those guys at 16 and 47, respectively. We look at, an injury-plagued final season at Michigan, 76.7 coverage grade, 2 picks, 2 pass breakups. Oh, by the way, those 2 picks were both housed for pick 6s.
He is everything you want, and if that knee holds up, it's going to be the steal of the draft. We've said that on our broadcast. It was an A draft for us. There was no scenario in which I thought they could get Walter Nolan and Will Johnson, and they did. And they did not give up any future draft capital to do it. Garrett Williams, who we're going to hear from, is the most slept-on corner, one of the most slept-on defensive players in the NFL. It's laughable. He's not included in the 33rd team's top 25 under 25. We broke that down yesterday. These defensive backs, like Melton Williams, Starling Thomas, they have been held back by this front seven that no longer sports the likes of, with all due respect, Victor Dumakaji and Dennis Gardeck, and Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols being asked to play meaningful snaps. They're going to be eating good. Will Johnson's going to have a pick 6 this year. I think Garrett Williams could have 5+ interceptions. This group, to me, this is the biggest benefactor of what the Cardinals did this offseason. And I'm going to tell you right now, like Sean Murphy-Bunting, I don't want to bang on a guy because he's injured. He really hurt himself because what he showed last year, he's a liability at times in coverage. He could take the football away. He was the only one who had interceptions last year. Sean Murphy-Bunting, with a thriving front seven, probably could have made himself more money. Maybe could have pivoted it to another contract eventually. Really unfortunate. I think his loss is Will Johnson's gain. I think Will Johnson will establish himself. I think it will be early in camp, assuming he can stay healthy. Hell, he still hasn't signed his contract yet, along with most of the second round. This is a young man that has an opportunity to come in and be the best young corner, young defensive back the Cardinals have had in training camp since 2013, with a little DB called Honey Badger dominating training camp. There's so many similarities to that, not in terms of like why they fell, but just the caliber of prospect that fell into your lap. And it's like, oh shit, this is one of the best players on the flipping team.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute ball hawk. And you look at Max Melton, you don't want to get him kind of lost in the shuffle here. You look at it kind of a real under-the-radar rookie season where he had to vie for playing time. And down the stretch, after week 4, he was a guy that was playing, seeing defensive snaps, at the very end of the season that he had to kind of fight for early on. The 33rd team said since week 9, he allowed just a 41.2% completion percentage, just 4.4 yards per target, and just a 54, nearly 55 passer rating when targeting Max Melton. So some really decent, tape that he put on display after week 9 in the NFL season last year.
Can I just say something? Like Will Johnson projects as a number 1 corner that likely will go against number 1 receivers. How much better is Max Melton now that he wouldn't necessarily have to face everybody's number one. I think Max Melton is as your high-end number 2 corner going against the slop of teams 2 and 3 cornerbacks or wide receivers, excuse me. Like if somebody's best wideout is your slot and their second best wideout goes to Will Johnson, then Max Melton gets somebody who might not be very good. And you feel pretty good about that. Max Melton against, I don't know, Juwan Jennings in San Francisco. Max Melton against whomever the hell, the Seahawks are trotting out now at wide receiver 3. I couldn't even tell you. They've got 2 underneath slot
Jake
receivers.
Bobo? I don't know. Is it MVS? Somebody.
Sign me up for that. It is you said it. It's a young man's game. The worst contracts in the NFL via overthecap.com at the cornerback position are guys who are over 27 years old. You lose that step, as you mentioned it, Bo, in an instant. Old and slow, banged up. That's what we always talk about. Like, he's 28. Can he move to safety? How many times do we say that about Patrick Peterson?
Right.
Move him to free safety, right? It's like all these corners are 25 and under. I mean, Garrett Williams in particular. We talked about Paris the other day in our offensive tackle, offensive line breakdown. Garrett Williams is going to get paid a ton of money, and it sets up really well because Will Johnson's contract just started. Max Melton's 1 year into his. By the time, if you sign Garrett Williams to big money, by the time maybe he's ending that contract, then the other guys are ready to get paid, right? And then the cycle just continues. So thank God for competent team building. This is a unit that for so long, can anybody take a guess how many first and second round picks Steve Keim spent on cornerbacks? I'm just going to leave this up to the group. In 10 drafts, 10 drafts, how many first and second round picks did he use at corner? Anybody know?
The answer 1?
Noah, do you know it?
I'm just going to go with 0.
Do you know it, Bo?
I think Byron Murphy, right?
It's 1.
Yeah.
Byron Murphy. It's unbelievable. In 10 drafts, 1 corner in the first and second round. It's unfathomable. They are so bad. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie was drafted by Rod Graves.
Yeah.
Byron Murphy.
It was Pat Pete. Yeah.
And you made an argument Byron Murphy was the wrong pick over flipping all those wideouts that are available, but that's another conversation. Gannon and Ossenfort come in, they're like, yeah, every year we're going to take one in the middle round and we're going to be fine.
Yeah. And you'll see it, like, as we've got just our overall look at here. And like, if you think that Will Johnson and Max Melton are just going to be gifted the starting spot, you would be wrong. I mean, I think Starling Thomas V is somebody that's not going to allow that to go down without a fight. Like, this is one of the most competitive guys in the DB room. Talking to Garrett Williams today, he reminded us how much of a leader Star is. So, like, Starling Thomas might not get the nod as a starter, but I think he's going to play valuable snaps for this team. If he doesn't outright win the game, as much as I want to win the spot, I want to see, the back-to-back second-round picks in the starting lineup. Might not happen because, the guy that they picked up right before the start of the 2023 season has developed and continues to be just one of their more consistent players. Elijah Jones, saw his name mentioned in the chat. A lot of upside there, good length, good size, good athleticism, out of Boston College, but was robbed due to a foot problem his rookie season, basically a medical red shirt his rookie year. Elijah Jones, we'll see what he's got come training camp. And then you've got, Keitrell Clark is a depth piece. We got him red here. I think he's on the chopping block. It's going to be, tough for him to carve out a role for himself on this team. And then Denzel Burke, this year's 5th round pick, really productive at Ohio State, played a big role as far as the national title team, and somebody that I think they envision, having a role with this organization in the future. And then we've got the big loss. All right, we'll see. Sean Murphy Bunting, not going to be available this season for the Cardinals, and probably it's one and done for him with the organization.
I would feel comfortable having any of those backup corners play meaningful snaps in a pinch. And I have not seen Denzel Burke play any pro football, and Elijah Jones missed time last year. Elijah Jones played at Florida State and was a top 100 pick. Like, you don't think he can play? Starling Thomas and Keitrell Clark are the veterans of the room. They've been in this system, played in almost every game for 3 years. This will be their 3rd year, so for 2 years. And then Denzel Burke was on one of the most dominant units in college football for almost half a decade. He's played a ton of football. Now, he will likely make his money as a special teamer, but like, We asked him. He sat with us in studio a month ago and told us, he's
Mhm.
like, I'm playing outside corner. So game on. I'm excited. This group, it's a breath of fresh air. It's not old, slow, practice squad level guys. Just this defense now. The offense is what it is. This defense has been so underserved with talent, and now you really feel like they're going to make the most of it with Rallis and company. What does Garrett Williams think about his young defensive coordinator and the prospects of the Cardinals defense this year? That more coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals. So fired up right now, Bo, for you to tell us about Pure Edibles.
Love Pure Edibles. Of course, they're available in over 130 dispensaries statewide. 130 Pure Edibles, of course, founded here in Arizona, up in Flagstaff, now called Phoenix home. They're welcome to the bigs. Gummies not covered in sugar like all their competitors. They are full-fledged candy company, and they take a lot of pride in that. They're not going to overwhelm you with too much sugar, and they're going to focus on all the key elements that go into a good gummy or a chew. It's their kicks. They're like Starburst. The chews are like caramel, the hard candies, and the Pure Effects. They're right there, clearly listed on each 10 of Pure Edibles, so you exactly know what to expect and effects to expect from your Pure Edibles. Pure offers gummies for sleep support, as well as candies for uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBD, CBG, and marijuana derived from THC. Check them out right now. Pure gummies designed to be ripped, bit in half to dial in that exact dose, or share with a friend. Oh, bringing people together. Love it. Pure Edibles. Go find yourself some Pure Edible products at one of the 130 dispensaries across Arizona. Pure Edibles.
Big fan of our friends at Pure Edibles. How about our friends at Branded Bills? I feel a little bit underdressed right now because I don't have a Branded Bills hat on. And here's the best part. When I had a mullet-esque hair, as my wife called it on vacation, I hid it. And I did so in fine fashion with our friends at Branded Bills. They saved me more times than not. Premium headwear, not a premium price. My favorite hat ever. I don't wear any other hats now. I only wear Branded Bills collections. You can too at brandedbills.com. Again, they've got trucker hats, fitteds, beanies, tees, or you can just shop the PHNX Sports collection right now. They've got the campus collection with ASU, U of A. They also do a partnership with the Suns. They're locally owned here in Phoenix, Mesa. They're fantastic. And again, I didn't know about them until I moved here, and I was quickly introduced. And I'm like, this is the best hat. I was on a trip with my buddies 2 months ago. They were repping Branded Bills from out of state. It's big time. Check them out right now. Brandedbills.com, BBPHNX for 15% off. Again, use the bonus code BBPHNX, 15% off.
So unbelievable. Look at this hat. Look how clean that is.
Can't wait to come in studio and maybe take
I'm going to take this one. This was in the studio. I'm going to take this one.
Wow. Okay.
See if you can stop me. Anybody taking it. It's so like the rubber, like the logo.
Yeah.
And it's just all black. Looks good.
Yeah. They feel good on my head. I got a big head, as you guys can see, and I need some support, right?
We got Sam Levitt talking to our guys at PHNX Sun Devils about a Heisman Trophy winning goal, Sammy Heisman, and it's got me fired up because I got my brand new Sun Devils hat. Thank you, Brandon Bills.
Sam Levitt rules. He's awesome. You guys are awesome. All 290 you watching live on YouTube alone, drop a like on this video. Let's get this to 350 here on a sleepy little Tuesday in the off season. Who wasn't asleep? Garrett Williams, because he was talking about in Tempe today.
We're just hanging. Me, Noah. He's out there just cutting his teeth, becoming a Cardinals media member, and learning about recognizing that the Cardinals have a lot of impressive young players. And one of those guys that's leading the charge is a rising third-year player in Garrett Williams. And man, like we talk about Will Johnson, let's hear Garrett Williams' thoughts on the Michigan product entering the Cardinals facility.
Yeah, I think the first thing that stands out is obviously just the football IQ part, and I feel like that was the thing we saw even to him in Michigan was just being able to be really instinctive and make plays on the ball. And so you take that and then you add his size and all those things, and just again a guy who's willing to learn. I think that's a really good mix to have to add to the room where we already have a lot of guys as well. So I feel good about him and everybody else in the room.
It's an embarrassment of riches, as we just detailed. Garrett Williams, by the way, the highest rated cover corner via PFF, 83.7. Is that good?
Pretty decent, right? He talked about a couple other things, like as far as the getting their hands on some footballs. Do they anticipate seeing an uptick as far as interceptions? I asked him that. This was his answer.
100%. Yeah, we have more than enough guys to do it, and I think all of us are are really capable. So I'm really excited, really looking forward to it. And I feel like we're all kind of on the same page of this. We did good last year. We got to get the ball. So that's one of our emphasis is to get the ball. So I think we're going to do that.
I think that's a product of the front seven being kind of bumped up a little bit, or are you guys just getting a little bit more into your more comfortable in the scheme?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I feel like the front obviously helps having more guys brought in, and then also us having another year in the scheme, and then also us just like looking at our own abilities and just realizing that we can do a lot more. So be good.
Garrett Williams, you knew he could play when he went to Seattle, his first game off of IR, his first game, and had an interception of Geno Smith, and was just like, oh, that guy's really good at football. Here's what I think is stupid. PFF had him as their number one cover corner, and then he was like the 22nd ranked DB.
Yeah.
Like, guys, come on, Trev, sweet baby Trev. Trevor Sikkema, why? How does that math ain't mathing? Number one cover corner, 22nd? Yeah.
Was that Mike critiquing my question asking ability? I'd like him banned. Ban him immediately. How dare he? Mike. Garrett Williams.
You're the man, Mike.
there is like his combine interview. Like there's lore. There's like it's like a bigger and bigger story about how he crushed that interview. Each and every year we get further from it. Like he's impressed. So everybody in the room, he had his, obviously the famous notebook that he writes down details and stuff on how he covers specific wide receivers, scheme, everything he puts in his notebook. Blew away Nick Rallis. Got some info from Garrett Williams on his DC. Rallis, who's also heading into year 3.
It's just been steady growth. I feel like even from when we first got here, they always kind of talked about how there's like levels to the scheme, and I feel like going into the third year, you're really starting to see like each year really has been a progression, and we're doing I feel like we're doing like some high quality football stuff, where it's a lot of, and we can do it now because of the guys we have in the room and having the years in the scheme and having the understanding of kind of like the principles that they set in place the first 2 years. So now it's allowing us to really start to do even more cool things. And so you add that to a really good group of guys who all are really willing to learn with really good coaches. I think it's a really good mix.
And then just overall, just who Garrett Williams thinks outside of himself is going to break out in 2025.
The whole secondary as a whole, I think, could be a really big breakout party, because when you think about the whole underrated thing, I feel like that's kind of one of the things that gets tagged here in Arizona. I think we have a lot of really, really good players here who showed it last year, and I think from seeing how OTAs and seeing how guys have been working out this offseason, I feel like going into this season, I think it's just going to continue to just be more another like coming out party, and allow more people to kind of figure out not only just the secondary, but just the Cardinals in general. I feel like this is going to be a big year for us to take that step to continue to just get into like the national spotlight, and guys are really starting to pay attention to us.
This is how Austin Fort can draft, is when you pick a player like that. Remember, because like we heard the story of like Gannon's like, all this. He's hurt, right? And we're going to interview him at the combine. And then he came into the combine room. I think he's told this story, and he blew people away.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it now. And then they picked him, and they've developed him, and he's a really great player. Steve Keim doesn't draft Garrett Williams. Can we just be honest? No chance. That is what has been missing, not to get on a soapbox here, from this organization my entire adult life. Yeah. Finding players like this in the middle rounds that become stars. That is how the Niners have been able to go to Super Bowls with average quarterbacks like Brock Purdy and Colin Kaepernick, because they've been able to draft and develop guys. They get Ufunga and Fred Warner in the middle rounds. The Cardinals have never done that because they've never taken this process seriously, and they finally are doing it. And it's like, oh yeah, we had a 3rd round pick, and we used it on a guy who is super high level, should have been a 1st or a high 2nd round pick out of Syracuse. We're going to roll the dice. He's going to come back healthy. He did. And guess what? He's probably a top 10 corner in the NFL. I mean, it's just, what a time to be alive as a Cardinal fan. I know we sell hope a lot on this show, especially the first 18 months, Bo, you and I were doing this together. This is just completely different. You watch him up, it's just business as usual. Garrett Williams, stud corner, going into a year where the Cardinals are projected to win 10 games. Somebody pitch me. This is why they have competent players.
And awareness.
Yeah.
Like he's aware that, these are guys that haven't emerged yet, that are budding, right? Especially in the secondary, have a real potential to do something special. And then if they do, what follows that? National exposure. People start paying attention. He's not like, where's our exposure? Where's our love? You understand that that's earned.
Yeah.
And you have to earn it even more so playing for the Cardinals because of the inconsistencies throughout, their tenure here in the desert. And he's well aware of it and knows that they can play a huge role in turning things around. I'm looking at, the third round for 2023 and trying to identify, who Keim would have taken over Garrett Williams.
Oh my God.
72nd.
Feed it to me.
The very next pick, Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, the wide receiver.
Definitely.
Very Keimy player.
What about Tajay Spears?
Oh, yeah. He would have loved a little undersized running back. He would have loved that. Let's see who else is very Keimy. I mean, there's a bunch of linebackers here. Dayon Henley, Trenton Simpson,
Tucker Kraft, tight end, South Dakota State for the Packers. Although he's been okay, but small. You gotta think small school. Let's see here. I got it pulled up too. This is great. I love that we're doing this. How about Dorian Williams, linebacker, Tulane from the American Conference?
It's too late. It's too late to take a linebacker. He would already check that box in round one. So I think Jalen Hyatt right out of the jump, right behind Garrett Williams. He would have been a speedy wideout out of Tennessee.
You're so right. It definitely would have been Jalen Hyatt. Excuse me. Guy weighs about 170 pounds. I did like him coming out though.
He had I think his best game as a pro was maybe against the Cardinals. That awful comeback that Danny Dimes had.
Oh, that was so bad
back in 2023.
Hang on. I'm pulling up his numbers right now. So he has, as a career, so this past year, he must have gotten hurt. He only had 62 yards. His rookie year, he had 373. And how many yards came from the Cardinals? Survey says, hang on, I'm pulling
90?
it up. 89, yeah.
Wow.
Not his best game, though. He put 109 on New England later that year. They probably thought they had something with him.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Didn't have a touchdown, though. Still only 23. But, yeah, Keim would have loved him. We would have definitely been disappointed by that pick long term.
As we usually were. But look, I mean, unbelievable stuff from Garrett Williams. Nice to see. I love that the Cardinals are parading out their players while they have them in the facility. I mean, Garrett Williams is sitting here T-minus 2 weeks from the team reporting the training camp, and he's already there. He's already working out, and that's kind of been when he was asked about Kyler Murray today. Donnie Druin asked about Kyler Murray, and he's like, "Work out with Kyler. He's at the facility all the time. So am I." And that's the caliber. That's the type of player that they got. Like, keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is football, and that's the entire organization. It's the roster, it's the front office, it's the coaching staff. They understand, like, we're getting paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars with some of the other spots to be a part of a winning football organization, and football is what we're focused on.
God, we're gonna win so many flipping games this year. Just serve it up. Serve that Kool-Aid up, baby. I'm ready. I got my bib on, and I'm ready to drink the Kool-Aid.
You're doing like a keg stand of the Kool-Aid right now. We got your legs in the air, and you are just guzzling the Cardinals Kool-Aid right now.
We're gonna go. You're gonna go as a fan to watch training camp this year, which is free at State Farm Stadium. I highly encourage it. It's a fantastic. The Cardinals do a fantastic job of training camp. I've taken my son a bunch of times. My family goes every year. You're gonna go and watch a training camp of K1, James Conner, Trey McBride, Marv, okay, Calais Campbell, Darius Robinson, Walter Noland, Josh Sweat, Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, Budda Baker. Feel pretty good. Pretty good. How do you feel? You feel pretty good? Like this video, subscribe. We got more fun right around the corner. It's PHNX Cardinals. Cardinals Foundation looking good. How about your flooring foundation? You need it checked as a new homeowner. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't go wrong with our friends at Empire Today. Okay, Empire Today, they live and breathe flooring, and they're going to help you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game. They're flooring experts. Bring the showroom right to your home. You pick the flooring, they pick the colors for your space. We're ready to rock and roll. Precise measurements taken. Have all the questions answered, so there's no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing that you can schedule, plus installation likely as soon as the next day. Okay, right now I want everybody take note, take inventory, in-home, free estimate, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can get $350 discount. That's $350 with the bonus code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHNX. That's empiretoday.com/PHNX for details.
We were talking about how Monty Austinfort is so savvy with the Cardinals cap space. You can make some money moves with Monarch Money. That's right, monarchmoney.com. Using the code PHNX, you're going to get 50% off your first year. That's right. They're going to give you your own personal CFO. Full visibility control so you can just stop earning, which is always good to earn, but start growing. That's what Monarch Money is all about. They're going to give you more than just your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners at PHNX. We love it. It's like having a Monty Austinfort in your pocket. When he's saying, don't spend on that, spend on this. Move your money over here. This is what you should do. Monarch Money, monarchmoney.com. Start managing your money and start building. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. The code PHNX.
Everybody, like this video. Again, subscribe. You make us the #1 Arizona Cardinals podcast for a reason. We need you. Hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications throughout the course of just 2 weeks left in the offseason. Has the offseason gone by quick for you, Bo?
Yes.
I feel like it's gone by quicker than most off seasons. I'm putting you on the spot. I feel like it's gone by quick.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's kind of pulled the chute here down like right towards the finish line, as it always does. I mean, you and we're putting in a ton of hours during draft season, and I mean that kind of starts in the off and free agency, and that really kind of starts late January. So you put your head down and you're just going to work there, and then you come up to breathe like after the camps, the OTAs, and then you got a little bit of a sludge before then. But yeah, it does fly by. I mean, I can't believe we're on to year 3 of the JG era of Gannon ball already. I mean, I remember doing the coaching search. It felt just like the other day.
Yeah. To me, the draft season this year was so intense. The unknown was great because we had telegraphed Marv, and toward the end, we had kind of telegraphed Paris and a couple different guys. We had no idea Walter Nolan was going to be available. And then we talk about how active they were in free agency. And then we had our time with Kyler Murray in the month of May, and the Cardinals felt like had a ton of access, visibility during OTAs, and everybody was out there. And then now, I mean, you've had a chance to connect with players throughout June where, I mean, football is going to be here in 2 weeks. We're going to hit training camp, and it's not going to stop, hopefully, for this franchise until well into 2026. That this does feel like with Garrett Williams at the facility, Kyler Murray, I'm assuming a ton of other players. I've seen clips of Michael Wilson, looks unbelievable working out.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals understand the task at hand, because here's the problem is if this group doesn't get it done, I don't think the coaches are going anywhere. Certainly the general manager and the young players under contract. But if it doesn't work out this year, then tweaks are going to be made. It does really feel like not running it back for one last stand, but running it back and saying, hey, if we intend to have it work, it's got to work now.
Yeah.
Specifically for this offense. If you guys want to stay together, Trey, with Michael, with Kyler, with Marv, with Paris, like we want this group to grow together, but we got to see a more productive unit. And so I can understand why everybody's on edge and taking it as serious as possible.
Yeah. And look, I don't know for sure. I don't have it like sourced. We do know that the skill players or the playmakers were going to do another trip with Kyler Murray to California. And I would assume it's either going to be, if it wasn't last week, it's probably going to be this week.
Yeah.
To give themselves a little bit of downtime before they report on July 22nd. So I'm sure if you follow K1 on social media or any of the guys like Trey McBride or Wilson or MHJ, like you'll probably start to see, footage from them for a second consecutive year going out there and really kind of leaning into the camaraderie, the team chemistry of those offensive playmakers and their quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. You want it so badly for this group because they're a likable group. It feels like there have been teams in the past where it was just like, kind of have to will yourself to like this
Yeah.
team because it's the bird on the helmet, right? And a lot of people had agendas, and there were a ton of me guys, and we dogging them a lot on this show, and people in the front office kept getting arrested, and it was just like, come on, guys, we're trying to like you. And this team, it's just completely different. You see, if I bring up Kyler Murray's softball game again, how many young players are on this team, impressionable guys, just starting their career, entering their prime like a Garrett Williams. This is hopefully the start of, I mean, we could conceivably be 2 weeks away from the start of one of hopefully a prolonged period of success for this franchise that they haven't seen since the mid-2010s with Arians.
Give yourself, some answers, like following the season, like, oh, this was a playoff team and we fully anticipate them running it back. Not, hey, they could run it back if this goes right. If these stars align, where you kind of had to see that. I mean, I know there was especially the most successful era of Cardinals football in the desert was the BA era, where it's 2013, 14, 15, double-digit wins, 2016 high expectations, unfortunate results. Were they 500 or just a game under 500 that season?
They were 2016. They were 7-8-1.
Yeah, 7-8-1,
and they were 8-8.
Right. So it was, but still, there was that. You felt confident. You weren't just foolish and just kind of really force feeding hope that wasn't there. I mean, and there hasn't, even 2021, after 2021, it was such a disastrous playoff appearance. There wasn't any confidence that the next season that they were just going to come back and they had fixed all their flaws.
As fondly, and I think fondly of Arians, and I think he is, with Don Coryell, the best coach in the history of the franchise. And they got, unfortunately with Arians, they just got him when he was too old, and it just didn't work out at the end. Todd Bowles should have been the heir apparent here, and there should have never been a gap. But here's what happened. They won one playoff game. They won one playoff game in 3 years. So we talk about those are the glory days. I don't think we know what that means in Arizona.
No.
We've had two old quarterbacks for a stint of about 2 to 3 years, and that's all we've had. And so that's why so many of us, Bo and I included, it's like, don't be so quick to discard a 28-year-old when you feel like you've got a chance for sustained success. We have never seen that here, ever. How long did it take Washington to find Jaden Daniels? 30 years. I mean,
Kurt Warner was cast off multiple times.
Right.
He had that unbelievable run in St. Louis, and then his career was essentially over. The Giants were like, well, we're going to go with Eli Manning. He was done in New York, and he was looking for any kind of opportunity. And he had to split time with Matt Leinart to start things off, who was just a failed top 10 draft pick.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Warner becomes, it's lightning in a bottle. He has a career renaissance and takes you to back-to-back playoffs, including, a Super Bowl run there. And then Carson Palmer's basically done, right? I mean, he had his run in Cincinnati, forced his way out, goes to Oakland, hated it there, gets traded for a conditional 6th, 7th round pick. And then he finds it after 1 year struggling in BA's system, and is unbelievable. But it's both those guys were done according to the rest of the league. And so you're going to count out a guy at 28. It's already had some decent seasons here. I think 2 really good seasons in 2020 and 2021. It's a bit foolish when each and every year you got guys that really kind of answer their detractors, their haters, their people who question them.
Don't pivot off of him until you get somebody under contract in-house that is better. Because I think Kyler Murray is going to win a lot of games this year. What do you think? How many games the Cardinals going to win? How do you feel about the Cardinals cornerback room, and what's the worst contract on the roster? Did we hit it? Did we miss one? Let us know in the comments. Drop a like, Bo. We're back mañana for another full show.
That's right. We continue our position preview, really getting to some fun positions. Today was a blast talking defensive backs with the help of Garrett Williams. We'll continue that. Plus, we already found some fodder for tomorrow. You're not going to believe some of the stuff that's been being written and spoon-fed to national audiences about Kyler Murray, about this Cardinals organization. We'll get into that. But enjoy the rest of your – is it Tuesday? Is that it? My God, this week. It's only Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here, 4:30 PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.